I'm not a big horror fan, but lately we've been lucky enough to get some really great spooky games, like Inside and Oxenfree, to scratch that spooky itch without relying on cheap tricks like jump scares. But I don't know why I'm talking about this today, because The Darkness 2 isn't spooky. It's violent and disturbing and occasionally juvenile, but spooky is not one of the attributes I would use to describe this game. Also, there's going to be some violent content and cussing coming up in this video, and if that's not your scene, then you're not going to want to play this game. Thanks for stopping by, but go watch another video. Have a good one. Now, for those of you that are left, let's take a look at this game and see if we can't find anything that's worthwhile. The Darkness 2 is a first-person shooter that never seems to settle on a particular direction. The basic idea is that your character, Jackie Escatado, is possessed by the darkness, and despite his efforts to quench its influence, he must call upon its powers once again to defeat a mysterious new force. There are demons and gangsters, and a thread of lost love. The main character somehow balances moral compunctions and relentless slaughters. This could be done right, but the opposing ideas don't match up with the gameplay. While your character wrestles with unleashing the powers of the darkness at the cost of perhaps his soul, you're having a field day ripping off people's heads. It's like if BioShock had the little sisters and made it clear that they're innocent, but didn't give the option to save them. It feels wrong. Then there's your demon monkey companion, who farts and pees his way through the game as an attempt at comedic relief? I honestly don't know. Any hope they had of maintaining a genuine horror tone went out the window when this guy showed up and was replaced by something like parody, but not quite as good. The gameplay suffers from an overabundance of options. The main mechanic here is based on its namesake. As long as you stay in the darkness, you have full access to your demony powers along with your guns. If you step into the light, you're stuck with just your guns, along with a distorted field of view. It's an interesting mechanic, but it's all that the gameplay has going for it that makes it rise above the crowd. During my time with the game, I only felt like I was using everything I had available about 10% of the time. Otherwise, I was either too underwhelmed by the enemies to dig deep enough to vary my attacks, or dying too quickly by a flood of enemies to work out a new strategy. There's a level up mechanic with a good variety of options, but I was always afraid there was a right answer and a wrong answer whenever I had enough points to get a new skill. The upgrades were noticeable, but I kept feeling like I should have gone in a different direction. From the audio-visual side of the design, the game checks all the boxes. The game looks good, and it has a great sense of style. Unfortunately, the fact that most of it takes place in the dark limits the effectiveness of those visuals. The brutal takedowns are particularly well done, and in a game that sold more into the horror genre, they would fit a lot better. As it is, they seem out of place alongside my peeing monkey friend and Jackie's moral quandary about unleashing the darkness. Again, this game suffers from trying to be too many things. Regrettably, all of that variety doesn't translate to the game design itself, maybe because the game focuses on sticking to its source material. The level design is somehow both linear and maze-like, and the appearance of choice throughout the majority of the game's story doesn't have much of an impact on the game or story. For the most part, the story happens and it washes over you so long as you stay alive. Maybe I'd be more invested in these characters if I'd played the first one, but for the most part I felt more like a disengaged spectator than Jackie Escatado. To conclude then, The Darkness 2 has a lot of interesting elements. Too many maybe, but they never come together to make a good game. It's not a bad game, I won't say you shouldn't play it, but there are a lot of games out there that I would say you should play instead of this one. In the end, this game is going to get the spot in between Fairy Bloom Frieza and Serious Sam HD The First Encounter. It's not a bad game, but it never impressed me. Hey, thanks for watching this video, friend. If you found it useful, would you leave me a like and a subscribe down there? It would help me out a lot. Also, if you have any questions about this game or suggestions of games I should review in the future, leave those down there in the comments. Thanks! Till next time, keep playing good video games.